There we go. We should have audio now. Let's see. Check 1, 2. There we go. Welcome to Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. We are recording. We are getting ready to go. We're going to do part 2 of the pirate from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride that influences this painting. And we're going to do some Q&As. And we're going to do some other stuff going on. Yeah. So let's see who we got in the house tonight. We got Brian Moore. We got Raffer Customs. We got Callie Craig. Sound should be on now. Hopefully. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Adam Hicks. Who else? Brachet. Raffin. Todd Keith. Joe Walker. Steve, what's going on? Dan Mayer. I think that's I can see right now. Darren Plank. Yeah. What's going on, everyone? I think we got sound now. Yeah? Yeah? Can I hear myself? Can I hear myself? Yep, I hate hearing myself. It's weird. It's like an echo in your head. All right. Good. Good, good, good. So video should be good. Sound should be good. Everything should be good. Volume's a little low. Let me go up a little bit here. My soundboard thing keeps. There we go. Let's go up a little bit more. How's that? That should be a bit better. I think we can get something there. I was gonna do a sound thing earlier today, but I got tied up. And then when I went to do it, it was being a pain. So now we should be a little better. I'm going to kick it up just a hair. How's that? Let me know if that's too loud. Gerald Mendez, what's going on? Driving and watching. You're not supposed to be driving and watching, Gerald. It's not safe. Welcome to the feed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. For those just joining, this is what we're working on here. Let me bring up the reference image. This was the sketch of what we did, so that's the reference what we're working from, and I'm using this as the color key. This was the low-res screenshot I got from the internet, and then came up with my own sketch version of it. Oops, let's go back to the bottom. And then we started last week. You saw me mix up the paint, do the transfer on the canvas, so if you missed that, you can go back and watch that. This is all recording, so I'm going to edit this down at a later date. We did a paper transfer, we did a little bit of paper cut, and we ended up with this guy. I think right here. Let's go on. So that's where we ended up last week. I messed around with it a little bit the other day. Just a little bit I was trying to color out for here, which is this is the Bordeaux. I was trying a few different things. Gary, what's going on? So yeah, I've been messing around with it, just trying to get some ideas. And tonight we mixed up a whole plethora of colors. Let me, and we'll see how far we're gonna get. I mixed up a couple different greens. So I mixed up an illustration yellow. Then I took the detail viridian green, added a little bit to the yellow to make this kind of brighter illustration green. We got some moss green. We got a sepia, we got a Bordeaux, we got a red. Then we have, I think, a umber. What do we got here? We got a detailed burnt sienna, and I think we did a raw umber as well. Yeah, I did a detailed raw umber, just so we have different colors. Then we have black, white, we got a blue. And we'll see what we get to tonight. We'll see how far we go. Mixed everything up, strained it really quick. It's all good to go. And yeah, I wish I did a little video clip. I just posted it. You know, my Bordeaux that I've had, this Berlin Airbrush Bordeaux. This is like 2.5 years old or more. This is when it first came out. And you know, when you open and close these, you're gonna get little dry pieces. And when you look at the end of that clip, you know, there's a bunch of little chunks after I strained it. That would kill your micron. That's why I strain stuff. It's not because the paint's bad, but open and close it, and you're going to get a little dry up here if they sit. Especially my studio goes from hot to cold quite a bit. It's just a good practice to get into. So you can check that out. Yeah. And we've got any questions, concerns? So we got good sound, we got good video. Feed looks strong. I want to thank everyone last week for all the awesome super chats. That super helped a lot. Which is great. August is a slower month for me. Everyone's up here in the Northeast. Up here in the Northeast, everyone is getting their last rides of the summer in August, September. So if you predominantly paint motorcycles, which is a lot of what I do, which I'm doing less and less. I'm not doing less of it, but I'm adding more other stuff in with tabletop and this and everything else, just kind of offset as I've been doing over the years. Just because what happens in this climate is winter's coming, October, November. You get to ride in October. By the end of October, you're not really riding, except for the really hardcore guys. By November, you're probably not riding. So this is like the last 2 months where people get good riding weather. So no one really will start a new project right now unless they have 2 bikes. So this is typically the slower time, which is good because I get to work on other stuff. Use your brain and strain. I do love that one. Kelly Craig got a question. Did I miss that? Let's see here. Did he ask it in the question section? Or, because I tried this new thing, and I don't know if it worked. How do you break the habit of being heavy-handed? Practice, man. It's really just practice. And just lighter coats, man. Thin your paint more, lower your pressure. Can you recommend a decent starting airbrush compressor or projector? Kind of hard to go over kit. The paints I'm using is Createx colors. These are all water-based paints, so super nice to use. They're for automotive surface and illustration and canvas. They're all around. I also use solvents. I use house color solvents. As far as airbrush, man, stay away from the really cheapo like Amazon stuff and a lot of that stuff, just because man, you end up with a lot of problems, inconsistent brushes, and most of those cheap ones from Amazon or Harbor Freight or things, which I was like, oh, get a $20 one, it'll get you started. It'll get you started until it doesn't work for a second, or you break apart and you can't get replacement parts. So you basically spend 20, 30 bucks to throw it out. So I don't recommend those cheap knockoff things or like the cheap Hobby Lobby ones, because you can't get parts for them. And airbrushes, when you start out, everyone knows, Brian, there's recent years, and everyone else, you damage parts more when you begin, okay? So you're going to damage a needle when you're cleaning it, or you're not going to put it back together, or you're going to leave paint in there, and you're going to have to chisel it out. You might ruin the fluid nozzle a little bit over time, and you can't get parts for them. So I recommend starting with a decent gun. My favorite go-to, they're a little pricey. The Iwata Eclipse is an all-around workhorse. We're going to use them tonight. You can use them from the time you start till you're a professional painter if you go that far with it. And they're easy to maintain, and they work with almost every paint. There's other great brands out there as well. There's Badger, there's Grex, there's Sada, there is Krios. There's a whole host of different brushes. If you stay with a named brand brush, and even the Iwata, you can get the Neos and the Revolutions. They're around $100, a little under. They're decent, strong starting brushes as well, and you can get parts for them, and they're easy to maintain and use. Don't fall for the, I need to get the very fine brush to get fine detail. The Iwata Eclipse is a mid-level brush, or a brush in that caliber, like a 0.3, 0.35. You can get from fine detail to nice atomization. Really good for someone, a beginner. When you get those 0.18s and those 0.23s micron and really awesome brushes that are good for detail, they're more finicky with the paint. So if you don't use high quality paint and really understand how to reduce and do it, you don't have good habits, you're going to fight the brush more than anything. So get a nice middle of the road brush. Avoid those Temu, Amazon special kits and all this crap in the Harbor Freight stuff, and all the people hawking that stuff as well. There's a lot of online brands that look the part, but they have problems with parts and availability, and there's no support. So that's my 2 cents. Compressor, get the best you can afford. you know, if you're gonna do t-shirts, illustration, or you're gonna put heavier, thick paints, you need a more powerful compressor. Fine illustration, you can get away with a smaller compressor because they work lower pressure with thin paints. So, you know, something that pushes air, you know, I'd stay away from the little battery ones. There are some decent ones that can do it, but yeah. Yeah. So, you know, go with companies like Coast Airbrush, Spray Gunner. Those two are probably the biggest in the States that can get you everything you need. If you're in Canada, then Maple Airbrush Supply. Those are the three I'd recommend going to first. Hope that helps. Anyone else? Good. Good. You know what I can do? Actually, this is nice because I can see questions. Brian Moore, what's the best tip you have to stop? Oh yeah, I already answered that. Heavy-handed. Yeah. It's okay, cool. Yeah, that Q&A section is cool because it just isolates questions I can kind of come back to later. So I can kind of pull those up on a different website here. There we go. Good. Okay. All right, let's get going. I don't think I missed anything here. Cool. All right. So let's talk about. I got a few Q&As we're going to do. And before I get into that, let's thank our lovely members here. Oh, the blue background, you can't see the blue skulls. We got more blue skulls today on this one. Last week, I think we just had like the top 4 or up to Honey, and that now Michael McClung, Mike Manning, Chris Garcia, West of Masker Locksport, Mike Stanton, Stephen Blunt are all 3 years in. I know Gary, Brad, Scott Boy, London. I think most of you guys, down to like I think Robert or Big Squatch, are like next week or next month. It goes into the Blue Skull. So I want to thank everyone for the support. Super huge thanks. With that being said, let's talk about. We're gonna mix these in tonight. I did a Q&A last week. Did a couple questions, and we did a giveaway. I think Gary won it after, and I believe Ray Shea got it. And you sent me the info. I got to double check my email. So I gave away a strainer, one of the strainers, and we'll throw in a couple like stickers and stuff like that. So that was next week. We're going to start with one of those as well. We're going to do another one, and then I think I'll do a signed one of my Transcendence Koi prints of the sketch. We'll do that in the giveaway. And then I got a difficult question, and I think we're going to give away a big canvas print. I haven't done one of these prints. I don't think I've given these away in a while. I think it's been a while since we've done one. These are one of the gallery wrap canvas prints of my Steam Nouveau. So I think we're going to give this away if we get enough attention for it. We'll see. And we'll go from there. Sound good? Does that sound like a plan? Jammer James, what's going on? Welcome. Cheers, everyone. I know I'm not talking like a pirate the whole time. That just ain't happening. All right. So, like I said, last week I started with this. This was done with sepia tone, so I have that color mixed up here as well. And then this here is the Berlin Bordeaux. It's a great color. And then because I want the, because I want that kind of, old scarf reddish color, I can tint over with an orangey red and a brown and kind of get that look to it. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. But I think what we're going to do tonight, what I'm going to start with, I want to get some color into this skull, right? I want to kind of show you that before I get too much. Because usually what I'll do in a piece like this, I'm going to work all my tone colors in all the sections and then start toning it. That's how I normally would work if I'm working. I basically do everything I can with this color, and we're going to do some of it. And I'll kind of start there because there's going to be. I'm going to use this sepia a little bit in here. Maybe not. Maybe I might use a different color. But I want to talk about what I do here and just kind of show you that how I tone it from here. And I got to get my prints. We got all our prints ready. Yeah. So for those who were here last week, We just started with the, the paper, and we kind of cut that out. We used everything. We're going to reuse those. And I'm going to show you another pro tip before I get too much. So what I did this week, I went. This is the Visionaire stand, which is steel, a steel base. It's 18 inches wide, so I just had to take these screws out. So I just got a new cutting mat for this, and I just get the sticky magnets, and I just put sticky magnets on the back. So now it doesn't go anywhere. You can take it on and off really easy. So when you got to cut, when you got to do your cuts, it's really easy to do. Right here. Super easy, right? So tip. I've taken some old ones and the same thing with. This one I just went a little bit more nuts on. And, oops. These are Hobby Lobby sticky magnets, so maybe they're not going to stick to permanent, but they'll get through this feed. Let's see, there was a question. I missed something. Is he doing a giveaway? Yeah, I'm gonna be giving away, like last week, I gave away one of the strainers. I'm gonna do another one of these this week with some stickers, one of the strainers. I'm gonna ask some questions, and I'm gonna have, this will be a signed print of, this was a Transcendence painting. This was a sketch from the Transcendence painting. And then we're gonna give away one of these Steam Nouveau prints. These are also available at the store already, MckayFineArt.com or Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. So you can just pop into that right there and get all that stuff. So, yeah. Sound good? We'll work them in. All right. That should take care of all the beginning stuff. Okay, so before I start going out here, I want to get some meat on this bone for you guys. So I worked this in a mid-tone with the sepia. If you look at the reference here, if you look at the, oops, wrong reference. If you look at the reference, it's got that yellowish glow, but you can kind of see that brown tone, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to break out my Eclipse. So I think Callie was asking. I still use Eclipse to this day. This is Eclipse side feed, but it's the same gun as the regular Eclipse. This is just a smaller body, but the head assembly is the same. It's just a shorter airbrush, but it doesn't perform any different really, other than it's shorter, and it's a side feed. But this is the go-to brush all around that I use for years. And I have some of these Eclipses going back 25 plus years, almost 30 years. So first color I'm going to use is, I have the Illustration Bismuth Yellow, which is a transparent. If you're doing automotive, you can use transparent. You can use candies if you want. It doesn't really matter. I really just want to draw skulls. Yep. I do a lot of skulls, that is for sure. All right, so now that I got this, I can take this and start tinting over with that yellow. Now, Brian, you asked about, heavy-handed. If you're heavy-handed, what you'd be doing right now is you'd be doing this. Really wet paint. What I'm doing is I'm a little less on the trigger. I'm still a little high on the pressure. I'm about 30 pounds. I have an SB Eclipse. I want the Takumi. Yeah, the Takumi's a great gun, but it's a lot of money. Yeah, they're very finicky, so you got to make sure you really understand your paint reductions and things like that. So even though, I could just wash over this whole thing, but I'm not. I'm gonna hit the yellow a little stronger here in the cheek. I'm gonna put it in the eyes, so I'm gonna make these eyes glow. So I am just gonna do an overall wash on this, but I'm gonna go lighter here. I can go heavier into here. And that's the nice thing about transparents. is transparent. You get to take your time. Oh, the Takumi Eclipse. Okay, yeah. But you don't want to use an opaque color here, high coverage, because then you're going to cover all your detail. That's the nice thing about working with transparents. You know, I can wash over this whole thing, but I still, even though I could just wash over it, I still kind of take it my time. I slowly wash in that color. That helps me control it. This will be a painting by, I think it's going to run there next week. I will take bids on this. This is going to be a 3-parter, so it's going to be a decent one. But I think he's going to have a gold tooth at some point. So I will put a 23 karat gold inlaid tooth in there for sure. That's got to be part of it. All right, so let's get here. Wash that out. Okay, so see, now we get that. Now we're starting to get that nice tone. And I'm just using the reference. It's not line by line. I'm just using it as a style cue. And I'm going to be going a darker sepia, almost with a black mix for the very darks. But I don't need to do that this second. Okay? Makes sense? Okay. And what we will do, I want to switch to another color here. But before I do that, welcome Paul Green. Thank you for popping in. Okay. So, we're going to do a question. With shipping the way they are, this is the thing. Let's keep it inside the continental U.S. Because Canada's just getting too expensive to ship, and overseas is way expensive to ship this stuff, especially for just a giveaway prize. And if you're not an airbrush artist that want this stuff, then don't bid on it. I mean, don't answer the question and spoil it. We got a bid. Thank you, Gary. Bing. Okay, so, all right, first one, we're going to do giveaway. You can have a choice of red or black. Afterwards, we're gonna give away a strainer kit. It'll come with some cups too, a couple stickers. Nice little giveaway. What you got to do is you got to go to my socials after this if you do win it, which I will give you here. Why can I never see this? There we go. Oops. There's my socials. Probably Facebook is probably the best. Message me there if you end up getting it. Would be the best thing to do. And with that, let's see. Question here. Big center. Here we go. All right. Everyone ready? Let's see what we got here. We already did 2 last week. This is kind of a difficult one. Try not to look it up. Can't force you, but. How long is the original Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean ride? And if you know the footage of how long it is, I'll throw in a little something extra. Oh, Instagram's fine too, Shay. Either one's fine. Whatever your preference. Just those two are easiest. But now I'm good. I'm glad you reminded me because I thought it was Facebook where you messaged me. So, yeah. I don't know about the miles, but the timing is first. That's the main question. The distance will have to be in feet, because that's what I have here, the answers. Joe Walker has the first one. And how many feet is 1.2 miles, Brian? Well, the time was the first question. The bonus extra was in footage. As long as the track. Well, that's true. Yes, it is about 15 minutes is what it says. So you did 15.5. I'd say that's qualified. Joe Walker, you get that. You're the first one in. And the footage. Hey Siri, how many feet is 1.2 miles? If you're close.
The answer is 6,336
no,
feet.
You're way off. So, Joe Walker, you get it. Because I know if anyone else gets footage right now, they're going to look it up. Joe, message me on social, and we'll take care of it. So that's cool. So that'll be... Don't worry, we got more stuff coming later. Just guessing. Yeah, it was a fair guess. But yeah, it's 1,838 feet. Good thing Craig Frazier's in here, because Craig would answer all the questions before anyone else. All right, so this is Joe Walker. Exactly. Too true, too true. All right, let's get back to color image. All right, we can go back. Let's go back to that. I think that's the best one. Okay, so you can see how there's that little green lighting on here. So I added some of the green, and we're just going to build these colors up. And I'm going to start adding in, yeah, so we got a little green. So you can see that little green glow here. It's a pretty harsh line. Okay. We're going to add that in here as well. And we'll get some glowing coming out of here. Oops. I'm going to come over here with this glow as well. There we go. We'll hit here. Maybe I'll break out some fluorescence later. Now, the one in the ride doesn't have the green glow. That's a little what I wanted to add. Now, if you add up how long you have to wait in line to the time you get off and get out, yeah, Brian, you're probably close. So we got a little green hitting over here. We're going to bring it down a little bit and make it a little bit more dramatic. Because there's a little green casting light coming here. So see how I'm just working it slow? I'm not adding too much in. I'm going to work it in. I know it's coming from kind of here. I'm going to put a little bit on the teeth. I think there should be a little bit in here. Yeah, just getting a little glow. It's coming across. I'm kind of figuring that light. There's a little bit under here, but these beads are green. Might as well. I can do it every other one. So while I got it, might as well just hit them. Like I said, these are kind of mid-tone things, so I can throw them in now. Yeah, that one, I kind of messed that one up. It should have been the small ones. Get some beads over here. So this is like, you know, if you watch pinstripers work, a lot of times, you know, they'll paint all the colors in first, and then they'll start like doing all the dark outlines in line. As soon as you say green, of course. And so you can see that green glow on the hat. I might as well. I don't have to do a ton of it, but I can kind of put that wash in here. You know, I could find this if I need to, so I keep it off the purple. There's not much over here. I like that. See how you can see that little curve happening? What I want to do is I gotta find it. That's what's nice about a big shield. You see, like, there's the way the light's coming, and this part of the hat is casting a shadow. Trying to see that there? Yeah, we're just gonna go. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at the photo as I'm going through it and seeing what shakes out. There we go. Dan Powers is here too. Got all the legends. Notice I'm just putting a little bit, just kind of looking at the photo. There's a little bit here. You know, a lot of people's first instinct, especially starting out, is they go green. I mean, they go, like, they just start in black. You know, even when you're not copying from the photo verbatim, you can use that photo as like a style cue, like I'm doing here, and just get some of it working. You know, you can see that green tinge everywhere, like, so I'm gonna just kind of play with it and get it in there. It's funny because it wasn't until this point that I'm seeing more green now, because I got away from this, I got to this, now I'm focusing other places. I'm like, oh yeah, there's more green tone. There's a little shift of it here. It's really in the underlying color of everything. Now that being said, you got to be, once you put green in there, you got to be careful with colors like purples and things like that, because it can get really kind of dirty at this point. You know what I want to do? I got something from Createx that I haven't even messed with yet. I know you can hear me. They sent me a test batch of this new fluorescent antifreeze green. Oh, Brian, just trying to keep it real, man. I mean, Adam. Just keeping it real. Let's see. What this shakes out to. So this is a fluorescent green. Let's just go for it and see what it does. Using it right out of the gate, I haven't even tried it. I think it's available. I don't think on camera it's going to read much different. And this is a t-shirt paint, so it is pretty thick. I'm going to jack up the pressure a little bit here. Yeah, it doesn't really show on camera. It is definitely... No, it's nice over this. Yeah, you can't see it on camera. Does it actually... Is it UV reactive? Oh yeah, it is. Look at that. So nothing. Boom. So maybe we'll have to play with this and add some... Yeah, look at that. So see how it doesn't do anything here? But it does it here. Yeah. I'm going to add some of that in. Just on this side. And I'm going to wash over the detail with it anyway. I'm going to put a lot in the eyes. Yeah. See, it doesn't glow here, but it glows here. Ooh, that's cool. Look at that. That's fun. See? On camera, I wasn't planning it. Some heavy glow right here. Thank you, Dennis, for sending this to me. Yeah. No, this is the new color coming out. This is their new fluorescent antifreeze green, which is different from their fluorescent green and fluorescent yellow. This is brand new. That's a really cool. That's a really cool pop. We're gonna use more of this throughout the painting because that just looks awesome. But you can't see it when it goes on really well, so. You gotta paint with the light. It's almost like when I'm doing Lumalore stuff. It's got that same pop. And we'll get that glow here on the eyes. See how our eyes glowing now? Like the eyes casting light out. But it goes away as soon as you do that. We'll do the same thing here. Look at that. That's fun. Very cool. No, it could be cool over copper pieces. Yeah. I need to try crazy. You don't need to try crazy complicated pieces. See? You asked me about how do you stop being heavy-handed. Okay? That's where you get yourself into trouble. I'm not saying don't try challenging things, but it doesn't have to be overly complicated. You got to get those foundational roots down, committed to memory, so that way you can move past them without worrying about it. Then get more complicated. Yeah, well, it's basically, I think it's made up the same way as their UV Glow, but it's a newer version of it. Because I know he just sent me that. He sent me a new black and a new white they worked on for the t-shirt line, which was really nice. And they're going to be doing that in the Wicked or illustration as well. Okay. So yeah, see how that's already starting to come along? A little fun. All right, cool, yeah. See? Get that nice glow. I think I've done UV before. I think Honey has the painting I did with the I did the Bride of Frankenstein, and we use UV in that as well. All right, good. The challenge. The challenge is when you can do a piece that is acceptably simple. Yeah, no, that's true. So, like, sometimes really simple can be challenging because you can't hide behind anything. Overly complex, sometimes you could hide a lot of mistakes in it. So, and it's that old saying when you'll say, "Oh, man, you make it look so easy." That is what comes from practice. You know, you get such a confidence, and that usually happens when you get all your root skills done, committed to muscle memory. Then you make it look easy because you're not worrying about, is the paint flowing, is this going, is this happening. That's done. Then you can focus on more complexity and keep things clean. So yeah. So at that, so we kind of tone this out, but it still looks a little cartoon-like. This is where I'm going to take, I think this is the sepia. Yeah. So this is sepia tone. I'm going to thin it down quite a bit. I've pre-strained everything this time. Last week I did it live with you guys. What colors can you not see, Gerald? Okay, so now you look at the skull. So it looks kind of flat right now. It looks a little cartoony. So this is where I'm going to take the sepia. Now I can go over. So now I can go from that core shadow down and work that cheek. I can come under here and I can work this a little bit more and kind of push this whole lower section back. We can shadow this some more. So that way, the cheekbone is casting onto here. This is not my darkest dark. I am going to add a little black to this eventually. Look, when I talk about foundation work, it goes with any discipline, any trade. Oops. I don't care if you're a musician, you play music. If you're an artist, you art. If you're a metal fabricator, you got to learn. Everything comes down to you got to get those essentials down, committed to muscle memory, so you can move past it, and now you can get the fun stuff. But so many people skip over the practice and the kind of mundane of getting good at the simple basics. You got to put that time in. I'm not necessarily like, oh, you should sit there. You know, I'm not the. Hold on. I'm not the guy that says, oh, just sit there and do, 1,000 dagger strokes with an airbrush, or 1,000 straight pinstripes in a row with a pinstripe and brush, or, and then 1,000 left and 1,000 right, blah, blah, blah. It's so monotonously boring. Now, I'm not saying not to do those practice drills, but do 8 or 10 or 20 before you start your session. Then paint something that involves using that stroke. Like when I first got my dagger strokes down, airbrushing, I was a big Todd McFarlane Spawn and Spider-Man nut. Okay, I loved the inking of comic books. I love that hash mark line work. So when I got good at dagger strokes, then I would go paint like a Spider-Man or a Punisher or something that had a lot of that line work in it. That helped me practice those strokes while doing something interesting. Okay, and then I do another like daggers and loops and practice like 10 or 20 of them, then move on to the painting. Okay, so you're always doing something interesting. I'm not saying you just have to do the same thing over and over. Paint the fence, Miyagi. Until your arm falls off. Yeah, I don't love that method, but I subscribe. You still need to do it, but you can do it in more creative and fun ways. Okay, when you learn guitar, I was never musically inclined, but I tried a few instruments, and I never had the commitment to stick to it. Airbrushing and art, I did. So, but you want to learn piano, you got to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. You got to get your scales. You got to get that hour a day practicing. You have to do it. Guitar, drum, welding. It doesn't matter. Okay, there is no shortcut. There is no magic cheat. A lot of people see guys like us. We use plotters. We'll use masking. We use this. We use that. And some guys are cheating. Look, that's another tool that you added into the mix on top of your basic skill sets. Okay, when Callie asked about airbrushes, you don't need to go spend the $400 or $500 on a Micron out the gate. Okay, just like you learn guitar, you don't have to go buy a Gibson, Les Paul or whatever, top of the line. But you shouldn't start. I don't recommend starting with the Toys R Us toy guitar either. You want to start something in the quality level in practice. Okay, that's my wholehearted belief. And you find your thing, man. The only shortcut to getting good fast is practice. Okay, that's it. You practice, you do some more work. You practice, you do some more work. I think I showed this before. Let me see if I can do it. See if I can have it easy access here. It was here. Oops. Now, I had an old t-shirt I did way back in the day. I don't have it here anymore. I thought it was right in here, but I must have moved it. It was the old Juggernaut shirt I did. I've shown it before. It's just hundreds of little dagger strokes to make the image. So yeah. 10,000 hours in Element War. Yeah, exactly. But in that 10,000 hours, do some fun shit. You don't have to do 10,000 hours of the same bullshit over and over and over to be boring. That's why I never was like the tattoo apprentice guy in the shop. You got to learn your skills, but you got to do some decent stuff. That's the war drum from Narnia. Yeah, exactly. That's where all the Warhammer stuff's kept. Yeah, man. Look, this is an instrument. Okay, you got to practice it. You got to keep that muscle memory. Okay, but practice fun stuff you want. But it's like, okay, you gonna go guitar. Like Brian, you say, oh, I got to do something more complex. Okay, you can do something challenging, a little complex. But if you're gonna learn guitar, you don't go try to play Eddie Van Halen Eruption. You don't try to learn that out of the gate. You got to get all the other stuff before you can even get there. So. Make things fun that you enjoy painting, images you like. That's a little challenging, but don't try to like force yourself here because you just get frustrated and put it down. So you got to find that kind of happy medium. Got my first airbrush portrait the other day. Started and practice. Good. It's awesome. And if you got something complicated, keep a practice board here. Okay, dagger stroke, brush, paint. Okay, you loosen up a little bit. Come over here and paint. Okay, practice. Okay, loosen. Okay, that color brush is working good. Boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Oh yes. I got quite a bit of Space Marines. I got the new Armageddon box back there, which is all the Blood Angels, and I have Ultramarines. But I'm having more fun painting the orcs and my Tyranid army as well. So yeah. All right, let me get back. Get my mug off screen here. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. Yeah, that's fine. can kind of zoom in a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah. Frustration's part of it, man, but you got to get past all those. A lot of frustration comes because you haven't, I'm not saying you specifically, I'm being you in general. People haven't done the discipline to just be able to come in and paint and do stuff naturally. You know what I mean? Just pop in. You know, and I start making that darker. You start seeing how that tone comes in. I don't want to get too much of this sepia brown over that eye. I'll probably use like a moss green. That shadow gets cast down from the hat. In here is going to be a lot darker. To set in that. So if you look at the photo reference, you see this whole section's kind of in dark. And it's kind of cast in the shadow, a little radius. We could actually, this is a great time for pocket graphics. So see how that shadow is radiusing? I can just kind of go like this and just pull off that. And add that kind of hard but soft shadow. And it's going to carry all the way to the back. Look at them, just build it. I think for tonight, because we're an hour in, I'm going to focus here and really get that skull done. Okay? And maybe we'll move over to here. But I think tonight I'm just going to go there. Even though I mixed up all these colors, who cares? Why did you post twice? Oh, I don't know. That's something on your end. I have no musical talent either. Okay, so we can add some little details here. But again, nothing is overly committed at this point. Just little bits. But see how much, like, this side already looks better because it's the second pass. I can kind of chisel this a little bit and blend this out. Tone this here. A little darker on the teeth. But just, it starts looking better. It starts having more life to it. And this is illustration sepia. I am treating it like a hard surface, so I put a little 40-50 in it. Because the illustration is for, like, it's to stay open for a long time to be erasable, realistically, and very transparent. So, yeah, so it's designed to be workable for a very long time. The 40-50 kicks it over, makes it a little stickier. And you kind of lose that erasability the more you put in. So it is a balance. The questions Brian asked. I'll get to Callie Craig's first. Callie Craig, the compressor I'm using right now is the Iwata Power Jet Pro or Smart Jet Pro. I forget which one. It's got the two on there. Small air tank. You definitely want a compressor with an air tank. It makes your life easier. The ones that just flutter, you're going to have pulsing issues with some of them. Some get past it, but when you get to the higher pressure, it won't. It won't pulse at low pressure. So get a compressor with a tank. I use the Smart Jet Pro or the Power Jet Pro Studio Series. I can get up to like 45, 50 PSI with it, consistently sprayed for a long period. It won't overheat. They're a nice unit. And they're pretty quiet. Other ones you can get, like if you want something a little bit more powerful, you're going to run spray guns, you're going to run higher pressure, you can get a California Air Tools. They're a little louder. They're about 65 decibels or so, which is still considered quiet. This one I think is around like 45 or 50 decibels, so yeah. Adam Hicks. The illustration is a lot lighter. Yeah, it's the same color value, but it's weaker because it's designed to be like 3 or 4 passes to get to coverage, whereas the Wicked is designed for coverage. So yeah, same color value, like tone when they're fully at their top color, or as I learned from Dan Powers, is your capped color, your 100% capped color. Still remember that term from your videos. When you get all the way up to the max of color will get to, like 3-4 coats. I think they're the same tone once they get there, but the illustration is definitely weaker for that reason, that it's designed to be layered. So Brian asked in the questions, got any tips on paint mixing on the substrate? I try to go gentle in shades, but the color shifts. Yeah, so I'm doing it right now. That's what I'm doing here. So if you notice what I'm doing is I layer the yellow, they put the green over the yellow and got that nice soft blend, and now I'm taking back to the sepia and working over those colors and soft blending them together. So if I wanted like more green, like if I wanted a different tone, I could use an orangey, I could use a different brown, and I could tone the skull in different ways. I am going to come in and do some highlighting as well at the end. So why use illustration with 4050 instead of detail sepia or Wicked sepia if you're going to erase? Well, I'm not really going to erase much. The illustration is a much finer ground pigment, because it's not for high coverage, and it's a little bit more transparent than the detail sepia, I find. And its ground is a little finer in the pigment, so I just like the way it flows. So by adding the 4050, it has the bite strength and power as the Wicked and detail line, but it still get that transparency. On the cameras, do you use 4050 more? On canvas, you don't actually need the 4050 at all because you got the canvas. But I did do some erasing, Dan, so I just don't put a lot in there. So I still get some erasability, but it's just not as erasable. I only put a few drops. The canvas, you don't really need it. The illustration will be fine with it. But I am going to top coat. I mean, I'm kind of treating it like halfway in between. With Clayboard, I'd probably put a little bit more 4050 because they're a little slicker. Okay. So, like, you know, Brian here, if I went to a transparent brown, see, I do this wash, and I get that nice tone inside the I want to focus this camera better. Hold on. There we go. So you can see that canvas. I did gesso the canvas and sand it. But like, see here, Brian, I can go really dark from here to a soft transition, and I'm using that sepia over that yellow. If you look at the reference, see how it's got that, the cheekbone is casting a hard line shadow on the lower jaw. You see that? So look, I can kind of do this, and I can use the stencil. I'm going to hold it back just a hair. You know what? I'm going to use this one here. I'm just blending that in. See that? But again, I didn't go harsh. Man, I'm barely pulling back on the trigger. I'm just letting it go soft. But see how that, like, hard line now, this bone looks like it cast down nicely here. Still stylized, still a little cartoon, but... And then here, I can start in dark, and I can bring that fade down as the bone kind of shifts and tweaks. Same thing here. If I want it hard, I can do this, or I can hold it off just a little bit. And now this color's going over the green, so you're getting a little bit of a different tone in there. was just thinking to make your paint thicker. No, so the 40/50 isn't to make the paint thicker. It's to make it more sticky because it turns the illustration water-based acrylic into a water-based polyurethane is basically what 40/50 is and what 40/50 does to the paint. Doesn't really make it thicker, it makes it bite more and stickier. And I'm only putting like 5% in, up to 10 max. I'm not putting a large amount in it. Okay, so if you see under here, we want under here just to get a little tone. I'm going to push this side back again. Go in here. That hat's casting a nice shadow. Again, I'm going to go a little bit more than I normally would just because of the way we're painting this. I wouldn't get to the stage here. I would be working all this first. But I'm going to do a lot of this. I meant to do it this week. Maybe I'll do some member feeds where I fill in here. But, you know, on the 2-hour live stream, I want to keep you guys engaged. So I want to be doing something that's like really impactful. And I think just doing hat texture is not really impactful to keep people interested. So, but the skull always is. Everyone loves to watch a skull come together, including me. I love watching them come together. We can come up here and I can just do a little. I can bounce around the board a little bit. Tone there, we're going to tone here. Just tone, see how I just toned up in there. I want to tone this side of the nose. Even though the green light's going to be hitting it, there's still primary light coming from here. And see, if the brown gets on this red, it's fine, because it's going to be that kind of same color. I don't know about everyone else, but I know to me, I like to see the whole process, so that means... I know. And I'm going to show you the whole process. Like, I'm not going to paint this whole thing off camera, but on this 2-hour feed, I just want to focus on this fun stuff here, and then I'm going to work on it next week, and we'll finish it up. So you're going to see it all. But like the thing about YouTube is I can see, I can see when people watch and when they turn off and when they come back. Not the same person. I don't know when each person comes in now, but I can see the numbers on when, like, how long they engage for, when they pop out, when they come back. So I kind of, you know, over the years, you kind of know what keeps people engaged. So the thing about YouTube and doing this, it's a balance of, you know, education, taking the time, and also keeping it entertaining. When are you going to lay down some flames again? Eventually. It'll probably be after I finish this painting. I am going to work on the one I started 2 weeks ago. The one I started 2 weeks ago with the saber tooth, with the fire. I am going to do that piece, but I'm going to record that, and that's not going to be live. I appreciate that, Jim. I try. Okay, so let's see here. Let me go back up to here. What's the side shot look like? Yeah, let's go in this shot for a little bit. How about that? Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Like, I'm not worried about, see how I got overspray here? This hat part here is gonna get really dark, as you can see, and there's gonna be web, so I'm not worried about this. That's why I'm keeping it loose. I'm not worried about this spray. This loose kind of, if I wanted to, I would have kept the masking there the whole time. But I'm not really worried about it. And for those keeping track, we do have a $250 bid on this. And the bids will carry to next week. I won't, like when I do like members only feeds, I won't take bids. The bids will only be taken when I'm doing like a public. I think it's fairer that way. I know for me the first time. So painting on canvas versus what? So I think canvas is easier than metal or board because boards are more slick. But the key to canvas I've always stood by is even the pre-treated ones, I think it's the nap is still too thick. So that's why I always run another like coat or two of gesso. In this case I use sandable gesso and then I sanded that smooth. Just so it's still got a canvas texture so it looks rich like canvas, but it's not too thick and heavy. Okay, you know that this is bugging me here. It needs to, the shadow needs to come here. I do want to get some attention to these eyes. Form dog, that's great because I usually do a couple hours at a time. All right, so I have, is this it? Okay, so I got the moss green. I'm going to hit a little bit of moss green in here. Because I want to darken the lower parts of these eyes without ruining too much of what I already got in the green. You know what? I think that's a little darker than I want it to be. Maybe that was the moss green. And I could use a transparent detail Viridian as well, but I like metal pattern is harder, I think, to do, but gives a smoother pattern. Yeah, no, metal panels give a different look, you know, which is 90% of my work is done on metal panels. Thank you, Dave. Appreciated. But like sometimes canvas just has a nice, richer look for certain things. And for this being a pirate painting, I don't want it to be like high gloss polish. I want it to be a little bit more canvasy, so it kind of fits better. Okay, so yeah, this is the moss green. I'm just basically the brown, like inside the eyes. And a little bit of detail here. I think I'm gonna get a Viridian green or something like that in here because this is a little too dark too fast. But I can shadow in under there and then I can brighten that up later. Yeah. Alright, it's 9:10. Who's up for another question? All right, we got. So what we'll do with this one, we will give one of my. This is the print. This is the print of the sketch that I did for my Transcendence painting, which is available in the store. So I'll do this, throw in a couple stickers, and we will do another question. All right, so okay. What famous Disney voice actor can be heard in both Pirates of the Caribbean and The Haunted Mansion? You do it while I clean my guns. I told you these are getting harder. A little harder. Not Christopher Walken. Not Frank Welker. Paul Frees is correct, Joe. Oh, Brian came in right after. Brian came in right after. Paul Frees is correct. The Ghost of the Haunted Mansion and the voice behind several of the pirate characters. Paul Frees. Joe. Now everything's going one place. Freeze? Not Johnny Depp. So Joe, you get both. You get last prize and this. Congratulations, Joe. You spelt it right. Yeah, I know. All right, Brian, send me your info. I'll send you one too, because Brian's getting two things. You did. You were right. You came in like neck and neck, and you did spell it right. So, I'll send you a print as well. See, I'm very generous. I'm giving mood. And bright color. Cool. He didn't answer in a form. I'm not doing Jeopardy. This isn't Jeopardy. Oof. All right. Yeah, the Q&As are fun. All right, so I got here, I got there. I think I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna do the big final one tonight. We're gonna do, like I said, the final one is gonna be. Ah, God damn it! Of course it fell on the ground. The final one will be this guy here, which will be this canvas wrap print of Steam Nouveau. And we'll sign a number, come with a certificate of authenticity. So we'll do this one as I get to the end of this paint. I'm not going to do it tonight. Sorry, your phone is giving you issues. Bleh. And we'll sign it. It'll come with a certificate. well, questions get a little harder. And we'll go from there. We'll do that next week when we get to the end. Warlock. Man, I wish you'd been here. You could have been tracking all my Q&As for me. Sorry, I've been writing them down. Oh, that was Warlock. Latest phone updates. Oh. I have never been to Disneyland and don't really watch movies, so I have no chance. Movies are my fun. I listen to movies and watch movies more than music. Like in my studio, movies are playing in the background. I don't watch them because I'm working, but I keep movies I know in the background playing all the time, and I can see the movie visually in my head. So, mostly Marvel movies or other movies I know really well. And the movie can play in the background, and I can kind of visualize it in my head. And for me, it's better than music. Music, I tune out, I don't even hear it for some reason. But movies, I get the visual in my head of the movie, and it's like I'm watching it. It's funny, I've listened to Guardians of the Galaxy so many times, one of my favorites, that a couple of months back I watched it. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot what that scene actually looked like. It was like watching it for the first time. Oops. I'll watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll watch those. I'll do like Gone in 60 Seconds. I'll do the Fast and Furious. Yeah, I just do a bunch of stuff. Nah, man. See, Floyd would just... I love the music, but I can't really listen to music much when I paint. I gotta have other... Yeah, it's weird. I mean, sometimes. I mean, it could depend what I'm doing, but yeah, Floyd's a good one. I gotta be in the right mood, frame of mind for music. Yeah, Groot would be fun. I would love to do one of those. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Right, we can actually, let's get a little bit. Young Washington was pretty good. Oh my god, see, I can't, I love heavy, I love metal. I cannot listen to it and work. I get so wound up and agitated that I just, no, can't do it. Messes with me too much. So you look at the photo, it's going to be pretty dark on this side here. We can throw some of this in now. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't even realize you couldn't see what I was painting there. That's what I was doing a little bit of this area. Disturbed to start, maybe. Huh. Man, haven't listened to Lords of Acid in a long time. Yep. Sometimes I'll put on some Warhammer stuff too, and like some books and shit, but this is like a leather strap that's going over. And there's gonna be like a buckle or coin there or something. This is gonna be like a white fabric coming down, so that's gonna stay lighter. If I do listen to music, it's got to be a little bit more melodic, kind of just kind of get me in a rhythm. It can't be too crazy. Like I'll throw on this band I listen to State Radio Dispatch quite a bit for that stuff, and then I'll go through. Damn it! I just lost the name of. Shoot! I can't think of the band I'm trying to think of that. Damn it. I mean, I'll get into some Post Malone too once in a while. He's got some great stuff. In the car, I listen to more music, more heavier stuff. And oh, that's a band. I'll listen. Every once in a while, I'll go through this band called Avett Brothers. Avett Brothers is great. See, I'm just kind of toning this out. I'll work these beads in. Like, honestly, if I was painting a motorcycle with pirate theme, oh man, yeah. ZZ Top is one I will listen to a lot, yeah. Rest in peace, Frank Beard, man, for sure. The only member of the band that didn't have a beard. Always thought that was awesome. Oh, yeah, man. I give my condolences to your dad for that, man. Sucks losing friends, man. Oh, Enigma. I haven't listened to that in a long time. There's some Tool on once in a while. Country, man. There's still some modern stuff I can do. I can listen to old country because it reminds me of listening to music with my dad in the car. My dad used to play the guitar. Not professionally or anything. He was just really good. And I used to do sing-alongs at the campground and stuff. And so listen to some old Kenny Rogers and stuff, and even older. Can't think of half the names, but so yeah, time to time we'll song will hit me the wrong way or the right way. John Denver too. You see, we're starting to get some other tones in here, some other stuff. And just setting it up. Oh man, dude, Kenny Wayne. I've seen Kenny Wayne like 6 times. I think I've only paid twice. I was, this is name dropping, but I was at an event. I went to the Roxy in Boston with a radio DJ, a friend of mine named Mr. Carey, and we were there. And Sully Godsmack was there with us. We were all just kind of hanging out, a whole group, and we saw Kenny Wayne in a small club. Then another time, we were at the Kicker Party at SEMA with Travis Pastrana jumping out of the Palms Hotel, and Kenny Wayne played that show at like the party, the VIP area. So it was like 100 of us in Kenny Wayne Shepherd. And then another time we saw him at another small venue. I always see him in small venues. Then I've seen him twice when they've come up here into the casino ballroom. Love Kenny Wayne and Noah. So good. So good. Yep. In KWS, seen the experience. Oh yeah, the Hendrix. Yeah, I've never been to that. No, I did. My dad did a lot of. Man, what was her name? My dad would have like Ricky Skaggs on, and then he would have. Shoot, why can't I? I'm brain farting on a lot of it. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I still want to see Baby Metal. I want to, one I'll put on and religiously have it on for days is the Zakk Wylde Hangover Music Volume 1, or love that one. Yeah, I do like a good guitar band, or I think it's because my father played, so yeah, guitars is important. Yeah. We drove cross country. I never met. I saw Zakk once, like up close. He went by me. We were at a concert in DAC, and that's what I've never met him. Dave, thanks for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Oh, I hate to Bob Marley. Yeah, I would do it. I would love to have music on here in the background, but it's too risky with copyright strikes and other stuff. There are stations I can use through YouTube that you can play some licensed stuff, but then you got to share any revenue that comes from the stream to it. There's a like a partnership program for that, so I don't bother. And even what I happened in the past, like one of my old intro songs was a royalty free, and then at some point it must have changed, and then my old videos started getting a percentage of it started going to the musician if I kept the video in. So yeah, that's kind of a funny thing. All right, so let's do some final couple things here. It will be much more set up. I like pins that make me want to throw cards. Yeah, see, I can't do that, man. Ruins my artistic flow. I get too tense, and I can't slow down. I can't rhythm because I want it. If the music's fast, I want to fucking go, and then it ruins my painting. Oh yeah, Johnny Cash, Ron Jennings. Yep, for sure. Why can't I think of him? Dad was famous and died, and then he was younger, same name, fell, messed his face up. God, why can't I? Man, I can't think of his name, and it's gonna hit me like, oh yeah, duh. Anyway, don't have it. I just ran out of ultramarine blue. The color of the Space Marine faction. Hank Williams Jr. Thank you, Hank Williams Jr. Listened to a lot of Hank Williams with my dad, and then Jr. as well, but I remember when MTV played that Hank Williams Jr. Hank Williams song with his dad, and they superimposed like the video and him together. And my dad loved that. The color. I had to ask. When it paints hair bands. Ah, hair bands. Yeah. That's always fun. Okay. I'm going to add a little transparent white. I might tick it with a little of the yellow. Just so it's a little bit not pure white. We'll do a little bit of detail. Tear my beer, that's right. Yeah. There, Conway Twitty? Yeah, that was one. My parents used to go to the Grand Ole Opry. Went there a few times. All right, so let's get some highlighting here. There's going to be green glows, but I want to hit this cheekbone a little bit, so you can get that a little whiter. But if I added that yellow in, it takes that shift out, and it's not too much white. It looks white, but it's actually kind of a cream yellow. I actually might do just a little stronger amount. Not familiar with Chris Gaines. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna highlight here. Let's bring up that photo reference. Oops, too big. I was gonna do that. Oh, you know who puts on a really good concert? Saw Billy Joel live, amazing in concert. I saw him on the Piano Man tour. Not the original one, like he did a later one. Well, maybe that was We Didn't Start the Fire tour. I forget. Saw him. That was great. Really, really great. No, most guys here probably aren't into it, but we do listen to some K-pop around the house. And my wife went to the BTS concert in Boston a few weeks ago, and brought some footage back. Whew, they can put on a show, and they sound really, really good. I will listen to anything that's got. I just don't really listen to it when I'm working. Now I'm gonna go really random. You want to know some really random? Some Thai bands that we listen to around the house. Really good. Thailand's got it going for some music because, like, they're into the music that we liked in like the 80s and the 90s and stuff. So it's really fun. It's good music. So we have a few Thai bands, Tilly Birds, Millie, all really good. Oh, Warrant, yeah. Simon and Garfunkel, Central Park, yeah. Now this white is going to mess with that. No, not really. The glow effect still works. See that? It's still coming through. That fluorescent. Yeah, we're definitely going to put a lot more of that in the finished painting. Yeah. Oh, shine now, Godsmack. Yep. Yeah, actually, I just redid one of Sully's first motorcycles. I didn't do it originally. It was done by another painter. And the fire it was okay. It's old. It was done in 02, 04 or whatever. And Daryl Sargent Candyman just redid the bike. He brought it to me, so we just finished up that. Sully's local to us. He used to hang out in the same bars when I was in my early 20s, so. I remember before they even signed, there was a local bar up in Salem, New Hampshire. He used to frequent, and there was one night they just came in. They were almost signed at this point. They did a gig at the bar instead of practicing at their practice house, wherever they were. Because the band at the bar didn't show up, and so they just played. Actually, it's funny. I just saw it. I still have their original album before they signed. I think I still have it. I saw it the other day. Is it still right here? Because the original Godsmack album before they signed almost had some White Zombie vibe, where they'd have a lot of like audio track music playing over or in the background, like from different shows. Yeah, right here. This is their pre-release, pre-signed album. All wound up. Yeah. EK Records, 3 East Meadow Drive, Haverhill, Massachusetts. Haverhill's the next town over. 1997. So this is the the album's in my car, but yeah. Yeah. That's an oldie. No, Sabbath goes without saying. But see how this off-white, it looks like I used white, but I didn't. So Brian, this is a good tip. This is why you get heavy-handed sometimes, because you would have probably went in with pure white, and it would have been like, whoosh, white. And then you got to fight it back with the brown again. You're constantly going back and forth, brown, white, brown, and it gets muddy. So by tinting it to a similar color that you're working with, it gives you a more natural. I'm going to be wrapping up here soon too, Joe. Joe, make sure you reach out and send me your stuff. Oh, you know the best concert? One of the best concert I went to. Well, after high school, we did Suicidal Tendencies, Danzig, Metallica. We did the Guns N' Roses Metallica tour. And then one of the best concerts I ever went to was Pantera and White Zombie before it was just Rob Zombie. And that's one of the big theatrical shows, man. I still remember that concert. That was amazing. Yeah, it was White Zombie and Pantera, which was just so killer. And I'm sorry, I get snobby with it. I like when bands sound like the album. I mean, I don't want them to lip sync it, but you can tell when they're not faking the music. Queen's amazing. Van Halen. What was the green using for the glow like that? Oh, so after I used my regular green, so I did the eyes in yellow first. Then I mixed up a green by adding a couple drops of green to the yellow, and then I went over it with fluorescent antifreeze green, which is a new color, W119 from Createx, and that's a UV glow, so you get that super glow, which is going to make it really cool. Maybe I'll do some pirate ghosts and stuff coming out of the water. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. The only thing I'm not into, man, I mean, I like a little bit of the Dead, but man, I'm really not a jam band guy. Never liked it. Not my thing. My least favorite is Fish. Ugh. I cringe. Sorry. If you're into that, sorry. You can see now that skull has a lot going on. Almost has a golden look to it. I think I will do a glowing yellow wash over this a little bit to get that theatrical lighting, but I'm going to wait for the end for that. Oh, yes. Yeah, they have a whole line of UV reactive. They have their UV white, their fluorescents. Yeah. Yeah, like a few songs of Dead I can deal with. I can never go to a concert with it. Never, ever. But Fish, I have a visceral. Can't stand it. It's actually a running joke with a few of my friends who are really into them. And I am not. So you just add a little bit of texture. I'm going to make this eye. I'm going to make these glow more later. Yeah. Is there one? Yeah, you can add in you can use their UV white, which is UV reactive white, and you can add it to colors. You got to play with it and see what you get out of it. But yeah. Okay, so that was the white. And now I'm going to finish this off for the night. So I got that sepia, right? Okay. All I'm going to do, I'm going to take my black, and I'm going to add 1, 2. I will do 3 drops to that. Does a UV have to... Here's the problem with top coating UV. Let me explain something to you all about how UV paint works. And I learned this years ago when I was doing some work with Cratex and UV paints and everything else. And if you want your UV paints and blacklight paints to really pop under blacklight, or UV light, is you can't use clear coat that has UV inhibitors, which protects colors from fading. If you put UV inhibitor clear, like a High Solids clear, like House of Color, or PPG, or Revolt, or Tamco, whatever, if you put a UV clear, it dramatically lessens or cuts the effect of the UV glow, especially under black light. Okay, so that's why they use it in dark rides all the time, because dark rides, they don't put any top coat. If I put UVLS over this, it'll lessen the effect. It'll make it last longer in the sun, but it'll lessen the effect by a lot, actually. Especially if you put really high solids, high concentrated UV inhibitor clear on top of UV reactive or fluorescent paint. Makes sense, though, right? So, which is why they also fade quick when they're really bright. So you can use them in dark rides. You don't use a UV coating because it does affect the amount of UV. Because what does UV clear do? It bounces the UV light back. Okay, so it won't glow, or it won't glow like it should. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. They would do all these cool UV jobs, especially on automotive, and then they put really good clear on it, and the effect goes way down. And a lot of times they don't know why. Okay. All right, so now I added the black into this. So now when I go into here, it's going to get super dark really quick. Actually, I think I could use one more. I'd rather need more than too much. Oof. I just saw the broke the neck and pelvis. That's oof. A buddy of mine, a car cut out and shot out in front of him when he was on his bike, and yeah, he cracked his pelvis in half. And and that recovery for him was so bad. Okay, so now the colors are going to really darken this area fast. But because it's added in, it's still not going to look cartoony. I'm not using straight black. Okay. This is probably as dark as it's going to get in these areas, but it's near black. And it's going to start being used up here. Still got that brown value, but yeah. So I'm going to use that in here. Use it in here. And that's as dark as any of these areas are ever really going to get. I don't think I'll use much darker black, because it really does look black. Yeah, man, I used to ride a long time ago. I stopped. You know, one thing about, and luckily I never got anything major. I lost a bunch of friends, lost a bunch of good customers. Lost a really good friend who was a customer, then became a close friend, and used to work at the shop. My friend Corey White. He got bumped off the road and over a bridge and into the ground beneath, and started on the news, and the bike being pulled out, and that was kind of it, man. I didn't want my family or anyone experiencing that for me. So yeah, I stopped. I was never a massive rider either, and that just kind of sealed it. Like, nah, it's just not my vibe. I loved it. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't my thing. So yeah, so see how that's going near black. These beads are going to go up further in, but you're really not going to see them. But yeah, so it's starting to pull everything together. So see how dark that is, but that's not black. It's still got a brown tone to it. When you get out, you get that nice, you know, fun cartoon look to it, where it's got a little fun to it. It's got some shape and dimension. And I still got to get some dynamic light in there, but we'll pull that in at the end. Like, you see in the reference image, there's that really bright lime green glow. I'm going to do that, but mostly with the fluorescent, so it does that. You know, when you put a big fluorescent light on it, you're going to have that glow. So that's kind of what I want to do. So whoever gets this painting right now, Gary's a high bid at $250. I think this one, when I finish it, maybe I'll do the clouds with some UV. And, you know, you're going to want to have a UV light over this one. I think it'll be really cool. No, people don't watch for bikes, man. Let's see how I can go in and really carve that. And when you go over an area that's not already got brown, it's going to have that nicer tone to it. That's going to be like a kind of like black, but it's going to have a little brownish tone. Like in here, we'll have. See, it's brown, but it's got a little greenish black because it started with the sepia. So we're going to play around more with that next time. Yeah, so I'm just going to start. That's why I wanted to focus on the skull. So as I'm painting this, there's always something cool to look at on the screen. So with that being said, keep an eye on the channel. We're going to finish this up next week. I maybe do a little bit on Monday. I'll do some member stuff where I'll just kind of pick away at certain things. But I think this was a cool progression to start seeing what's happening. What do you guys think? Was it fun? Was the feed decent? Did we like it? More of it? Did you like the questions? Was the trivia fun? Yeah. Is that 30 foot? Yeah. Right, yeah, same here, man. Same here. Yeah, man, my daughter's going to be 21 in 2.5 months? 2 months? Yeah. So, yeah. Let's go. So if you like this feed, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. You're getting stuff out of it. Please, please subscribe and share and throw some super chats. Join up, become a member, help support the channel, all that fun stuff. Keeping it growing. And yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one. Let's see if I can put a brighter. Yeah. But I still like see that bright green that's under the eye, and then I want that. I really want that here. We're gonna get that at the end, but I want to get everything else kind of worked in and toned, and yeah, we'll make this a cool. And I got to come up with a little pirate like battle scene, an island or something here, or maybe we'll do some ghosts coming out. This will be fun. This one will be a fun one, I think. That whoever gets it will get the original, but I think I'll have this scanned and photographed, and this could be a cool print design or something. Yeah. Let me know. All right, guys. Do you sell line drawings? What do you mean? Like for this one, I'm not selling this file. I do have the full. I don't know. That's the. I got a big sketch somewhere, but you know, if you're gonna go off it, you can go off that sketch. But yeah, keep an eye on the channel. Have a great night, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be happy, be safe. Enjoy your Friday. And keep an eye on the channel. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And get on the socials. And you guys who won stuff tonight, reach out to me. Give me our info. Get that stuff sent out next week. And yeah, I think we're doing good. Great feed, everyone. Thank you very much, guys. Peace. See you later. Bye.